This is Anne-Marie Leake, Vice President of Communications for ePayResources. Welcome to the Payment Space.
I'm pleased to welcome Joe Proto, Board Chairman, Director, and Advisor to many companies, and our first recipient of the ePayResources Lifetime Achievement Award in 2022 to the Payment Space podcast, brought to you by ePayResources. This is being recorded live at NACHA's Smarter, Faster Payments 2024, and I'm your guest host, Peter Davey, the Payments Jedi. Welcome to the show, Joe.
Thank you, Peter. Great to be here with you.
So, you've been active over the past few decades building companies that have solved core problems in the payments industry. As you reflect on your time in the industry, how have you seen it change and sort of what have you seen develop?
Wow, Peter, what a great question. I've been now 42 years in payments. Built and sold first company to what's now part of Wells, built and sold second company to First Data, which is now Fiserv, built and sold third company to MasterCard, and this last company we sold to Great Hill. I've been fortunate enough to see a world that was predominantly paper check and cash, and then of course card at the point of sale, to now where we wake up every day more excited than ever to be part of this digital transformation, where we are literally part of a payments world that's going to be driven by cloud computing, artificial intelligence, the ability to manage our money and data in a way that we could never have before without the technology that now exists.
It's amazing. I mean, to think about just even the last 5 years of change across this industry, with the advent of things like RTP, the introduction of FedNow, seems like there's a even greater opportunity, I think, for financial institutions to play in this space. And, as I kind of think about my time, I think there's been a massive level setting that has happened, but always the technology isn't available to everybody in the way that you'd want.
Well, the amount of investment in fintech and in tech in general, but especially for our industry, has been unprecedented. And oh, by the way, so have the recent failures. Last year, 3,200 private equity and venture capital funded tech businesses went bankrupt. I mean, let that sink in for a minute. We went from this entire era of entrepreneurs given a boatload of money, grow at any cost, we don't care about profitability, and now we have the adults back in the room again. We have these write-offs that have taught the industry that we really need to have a business model that works, and you need to be, in my belief, Peter, partnered with financial institutions. So the one position that I take that's inviolable for me is, if you're a fintech and you're being built to put banks out of business, I am your enemy, because I am the fintech entrepreneur that believes that our strength comes from working with and for financial institutions. In particular, I love the community banking and credit union space. It is one of the strongest backbone of our entire society. And I love seeing fintechs that have stepped up to serve, in particular, the banks other than the top 50, 100, pick the number. So that's a big part of what I've put my career into.
Yeah, there's a massive number of the community banking and credit unions that really have a ripe opportunity to service a customer base that the larger financial institutions don't even touch. Thinking about the SMB Plus, and what we would call middle market, but other financial institutions on the larger scale wouldn't call middle market. And I think, you're exactly right. The ability to take a fintech, the ability to bring them into the banking world, and for them to service jointly a customer set that is underserved in this population, I think is really where the opportunity lies.
I think that the community banks and credit unions are now being fueled for growth with the tools that technology is bringing, which is amazing. And not just the core processors, but from financial technology providers that have lots of strength and product capability to bring. There are almost no de novo banks being created anymore. And I'm okay with that, because that means the community banks and credit unions that exist continue to get stronger and bigger. So it's a fantastic, I think, validation that there is a huge need for the amount of banks that exist to serve small business, consumers, even the middle market, sometimes being abandoned by the large FIs.
So I mentioned that we're at the Not Just Smarter, Faster Payments Conference 2024 here in Miami. What's exciting you about this conference?
You know, the reality is that we keep beating ourselves up that payments aren't at the speed of TikTok, right? If it's 10-second attention span, we're lost in this day and age. But we have to go back, Peter, and look at when money moved before. It took a long time. In a cash and check world, money did not move fast at all, and there was little to no information. Today, we've seen ACH up and to the right, same-day ACH up and to the right, even RTP, that arguably TCH has spent $1 billion on, and the Fed has spent now $1 billion on. We know that we're going to see the numbers continue to go up and to the right. So the marketplace will win. Consumers, businesses, and FIs together, I believe, will continue to see this digital transformation. And the one theme that will bear out more than any, I believe, is this office of the CFO that is being created in concert with banks who can say, you have a payables and receivables, lending, cash flow forecasting world that I'm going to help you as your bank manage. That's what the young CFO is looking for today.
So now that you're retired, sort of, I love to kind of joke about that. And you're spending the majority of your time outside of your traveling and playing golf, which obviously I see pictures all the time. You're advising a bunch of different companies. What are the types of companies that you personally like advising, and sort of what needs are they addressing across the industry?
So I wanted to replace the big MasterCard logo with a bigger logo, and I was invited to become executive advisor at Google Cloud. There are 4 of us, and we're kind of a Navy SEALs team to help with strategy and direction, and I'm so proud. Lots of risks and missteps in AI. And while we might have had previously AI winters, Watson won a chess match, and then you never heard from IBM AI for a while after that. But I think it's here to stay, number one, because any of us as consumers can use ChatGPT, right? My wife, to plan our trip to Mongolia, it took her 3 months. Today, she's planning our month-long trip to Norway in minutes with AI help. So consumers now have access to something that only engineers and developers had access to before. And secondly, AI is already being used by the bad actors. So we need AI to step up and help protect us as consumers and businesses against fraud, because the bad guys are not paying attention to any of the guardrails. What gets me excited is continuing along the theme of bank plus fintech, 1 + 1 = 3. It's a combination that, to me, provides both the balance sheet and the transaction technology capabilities that is part of the future. So I wish I was 10 years younger, don't we all? But that's what I want to spend the next, however many years I've got good years left in the industry.
That's awesome. So when I think of entrepreneurial spirit and I think about innovation, I do think of you a lot, Joe. Many of our members sometimes struggle with how to innovate in a world of risk and compliance. What advice would you give to them?
At the last ePay conference, I was up on stage, Banking in the Cloud, and it was a really good start to our session, and we asked for questions and answers, and a woman in the front row said, at a bank, a young woman, we bring innovation to our board of dinosaurs who never want to change. And she was looking straight at me, the oldest one on the panel, and I agreed with her that it is difficult, especially at banks, to get change to be embraced. But I said, you are the next generation. It's you who are going to change that. And yes, maybe some of the dinosaurs need to be killed off by that meteor hitting the Earth, Peter. But I do think that the next generation, the CFO, the young CFO who's grown up with a mobile device in their hands their whole life, they are not going to accept anything but digital solutions for their businesses at work.
Yeah, I completely agree. Well, Joe, thank you so much for coming and spending a little bit of time with us and helping to address some of these questions for our users. Really appreciate it, and looking forward to many more years and many more conversations with you.
Thank you so much, Peter. Great to be here with you.